Good morning, San Antonio. Welcome to another episode of Plática Politica right here on KEDA Radio Jalapeno. Today is early voting. It's the only Saturday that you can cast your ballot early before Election Day. It's from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. If you're in Bexar County, you can vote at any voting center in the county with your state-issued identification or military ID. Right now, you can vote anywhere in Bexar County. So while you're driving to the polls, stay tuned because we've got some great guests. At the top of the hour, we have Gina Hinojosa, who's running against Greg Abbott to be your next governor. But first, she has to make it out of the Democratic primary, so she's asking for your vote. Also joining us is Judge Carlo Rodriguez Key, who's running to defend his seat. He's been on the bench for about 11 years now. He's got a challenger, and he's asking for your vote. So stay tuned so you can learn more about him. Also with us today is Johnny Garcia, who's running for United States Congressional District 35. As you all remember, in the last legislative session, Republicans coerced or acquiesced, I should say, to Donald Trump and redrew Texas's congressional districts. They set up Congressional District 35 to what they believe to be a solid Republican district. But Johnny Garcia is a fired up sheriff's deputy who's asking for your vote in the Democratic primary so he can face off with one of the 11 Republicans that are running for this seat in the primary. As you all know, people put their name on the ballot. The Democrats go out and vote for who they want to be their nominee. Republicans go out to vote for who they want to be their nominee. And then they face off in November to see who's going to eventually get elected and take those seats. So in Texas, the Democratic primary and the Republican primary are extremely important. Obviously, we're covering the primaries that matter most right here on Plática Politica. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Atención, damas y caballeros, it's your turn to make a difference. The primary elections are going on and every single vote counts. This is when Republicans and Democrats head to the polls and select who's going to face off in the November general election. Este es su futuro, your voice, your choice, your future. Find your polling place and show up. Early voting is May 17th through the 27th and Election Day is March 3rd. If you're registered to vote, you can cast your ballot at any voting center in Bexar County with your state-issued identification. So get ready, get set, and let's hit the polls. Vayan a votar en la elección primaria. And we're back on Plática Politica. Carlo Rodriguez Key is the incumbent judge of Bexar County Court at Law Number 14, a criminal county level court in San Antonio. He served on the bench for over a decade, previously working both as a prosecutor and a defense attorney. After earning his JD from Baylor Law School and his bachelor's degree from Texas A&M University, Judge Key is known locally for his long judicial experience, involvement in community programs like Bear Gives Back, and commitment to fairness in the justice system. How are you doing, Judge Key?
Hey, good morning. I'm doing great.
Thank you so much for joining us today. You are doing multiple things. You're on the bench, you're fighting crime, and you're running for election in Texas. How's life treating you?
Yeah, it's a super busy time. It's just, you see it coming, you know what you got to do. So just keep on grinding and do everything that I can possibly do this time of year.
How long have you been on the bench?
So I've been on the bench for just over 11 years. By the time my term's over, it'll be 12 years. So, just about 11 months and 11 years and 3 months, something like that.
That's amazing. Before we get into like how the bench is treating you, how the robe is treating you, I'm curious, what led you to run for office? What brought you to the point of deciding I want to be a judge?
It's just when you practice after, about almost 10 years of practice, you go into courtrooms and pretty soon you recognize the judges that do good jobs. And then you see judges that you really feel, I can do a better job than this. And, with my background, with my experience, I think I was perfectly set up to, perform that kind of job for our community. And so that's why I decided to run.
You've been on the bench for, you said, going on 12 years now?
Right.
And how has being a judge evolved? I know everyone says, oh, we have millennials now, we have zennials, we have all the ennials. How has the practice of law evolved while you've been on the bench?
Well, I can tell you that, when you've been in the courthouse for over 23 years, you see a new group of people come in. So I'm starting to see a younger generation come in, and their approach to the bench is a little different. Now we have social media, TikTok, and things like that. So they like to make their voice heard. So that's a part of it as well. But it's definitely changing. It's definitely changing. Attitudes are a little different. Styles are a little different. And you just kind of have to evolve with it.
I have to ask, do you ever see a lawyer come into before you and go, are you old enough to practice law?
Not anymore. When I first ran in 2010, I got that a lot. I think I was 33. And whenever I was first elected, 33 or 34. And so at that time, when I would tell someone I'm a judge, you could see it would take them back a little bit. And they'd go, oh, really? You seem a little young. But unfortunately, now I'm 52. I don't get that comment anymore. So yeah, that's it.
I see you have a little wisdom on your face. You got a little
the hair's gotten grayer. We all age. Age catches up to us all. But yeah, I mean, I think that actually it's kind of disappointing. I don't get those comments anymore. But no, it's fine.
Well, I guess so. If there are any lawyers listening to the judge right now, you just have to compliment him on how young he looks, and that might get you. That may get you real far.
Yeah, youthful. Let's go with youthful.
Youthful.
Like
yeah. I'm not going to tell you like we would tell my grandmother, "Se mira tan fuerte." Definitely not going to do that, Judge. What is it? There is a lot that's going on in the world around us, right? The courtrooms are under attack. Our criminal justice system is all over the place. Our politics are all over the place. Why continue to serve? Why run as a Democrat?
Well, I mean, I think it's never been more clear that is the party that I belong in. Things have gotten just so, for lack of a better word, wacky. It seems like positions have flipped. I think, our rights are under attack. More and more, this isn't looking like a free country to me. Everything that happens with our attacks on freedom of speech, our ability to protest peacefully. Also, our government's kind of starting to investigate people just for their political beliefs, which is about as anti-American as you can be. So, I really think that now more than ever, it's a time to be a Democrat, at least for me personally.
No, that's awesome. And as a Democrat, as a judge, you've been involved in some really great programs. Tell me a little bit about Bear Gives Back and what that program is. I understand you're partnering with Sheriff Salazar on that. How is that affecting the community?
Well, I think it's a really great program. And so what it is it's ultimately where we have low-level offenders perform community service instead of going to jail. So, they get sentenced to say, 20 days in jail. Well, instead of actually having them go and sit in the jail, stay away from their families, potentially lose their job, we have them show up and do community service around the courthouse, around the jail. Most recently, we've expanded it to include cleaning up homeless encampments and, also handing out food, in connection with some local charities who have been providing some food. They just need some manpower. Well, we provide that manpower. So, it lets people, give a day or two out of their week and, serve off their time that they otherwise would have just been lingering in our jail for low-level offenses.
For those of us that are not lawyers, when you say low-level offenses, what is that? Like what type of crime?
Really, just about everything. In my court, it's just about everything with very few exceptions. If someone has a violent history or a truly violent crime, that's someone that we'll generally exclude from the program. We are expanding that a little bit more to, try to some of the first-time offenders with family violence and things of that nature. We're starting to expand that and to allow them in. But felonies are generally not something that people will come in from those courts. Although they will come in, some district court judges will allow them to come in and complete their community service that they're lacking, not necessarily in exchange for jail time, but to get some of that community service in.
And I learned something interesting about you through our time together. I learned that you are in charge of the animal cruelty court, which is something that's near and dear to a lot of our hearts. I'm an animal lover. Tell us, what is that? Do the animals get charged for, barking too loud, or like, what are they doing? What's happening here?
So at the misdemeanor level, the animal cruelty is basically neglect. And here in this community, we have a lot of that. There's different ways that case can present itself. Sometimes it's someone that kind of has a hoarder mentality, that's never seen a stray that they can't take in, and before you know it, they have 30 or 50 animals, which really degrades the living condition. They're not being fed well. So you have people like that. You also have individuals that get evicted and they just leave their pets in that apartment or home, and they'll lock them in and just leave. And so that's another form of neglect. And then another one that we see often is with horses. People don't have the space, so they leave it at a friend's fenced in area, out in the country or something like that. And then no one feeds them. So that's primarily the type of cases we see. Most of those cases, all of those cases that occur in Bexar County on the misdemeanor level are supposed to end up in my court. Some judges choose to keep them, but for the most part, my court's the one that receives them. And, it's really important for my court. It's not so much for me or the things that I do, but, the prosecutors need to have experience. Not only, the charge itself, the law itself is rather complicated. And so it's important that they have an understanding of the law and how to prosecute it. And and there's also very limited investigators. So it's a good thing that these investigators, can have direct contact with, just a limited number of prosecutors so they can communicate.
I can imagine that's kind of a new thing, right, in Bexar County, or is it? So you probably have to have a certain level of knowledge or experience in that.
At least the prosecutors do.
Yeah.
The prosecutors most definitely do, because it's not an easy process for them, the kind of evidence that they need to produce. And also it's good that they have perspective, that they see them all. That way you can identify the truly bad cases, and you can identify the cases that, relatively speaking, don't have the malintent that some of the other ones might.
That's interesting. Wow, that's really fascinating about the court that you serve in. Judge, before you head out, first of all, we appreciate you being here. But what do you want people to know about you? Where can they learn more about you?
So, I just want you to know that, I grew up from really humble means. I grew up on social assistance. I was raised by a disabled father, and that really gave me perspective. It gives me an opportunity to be able to tell and, empathize for those who come in front of me. And consider their life situation. Not people aren't numbers. They're actually, they're people with a history. And it's important whenever you're dealing with, all individuals to kind of understand that. So, I think my perspective gives me a unique position on the bench. And, I'm an efficient judge. I'm a compassionate judge. I'm a fair judge. And I would like to stay on the bench and continue to do this for, more than 12 years. I'd like to make a full career out of it.
All right. Well,
and
thank you
if
so
you
much.
If you want to learn more, go to judgekey.com, and you can get some more information on me.
All right. That's Judge Carlo Rodriguez Key, running for re-election right here in Bexar County. If you live in Bexar County, you can vote for him. Today is Saturday, and this is the only Saturday that you can vote from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. anywhere in Bexar County. So vayan a votar. All right. We'll be right back.
Hello, Bexar County. This is Sheriff Javier Salazar with my good friend, Monica Ramirez Alcantara.
Hola, San Antonio.
There's a very important election going on right now.
That's right. I'm respectfully asking for your vote as your next district clerk. I'm running to make the courthouse more accessible for you.
Please go out and vote Monica Ramirez Alcantara for district clerk.
And don't forget, if you're registered to vote, you can vote at any voting center in Bexar County with your state-issued identification.
Remember, go out and vote Monica in the Democratic primary.
Thank you, Sheriff, and thank you, Bexar County. I'm Monica Ramirez Alcantara, and I'm respectfully asking for your vote.
Political advertising paid for by Monica Ramirez Alcantara for Bexar County District Clerk. And we're back. You're listening to Plática Politica right here on KEDA Radio Jalapeño. It's a glorious morning in San Antonio. Early voting is going on right now. You can literally vote today from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. anywhere in Bexar County. Joining us right now is Johnny Garcia, running for United States Congress in District 35. Johnny, how are you doing today?
Doing great. Early on, I don't think many people remember that I was doing the work of Plática Politica at the polls in recent and previous seasons. So to be on as a candidate, this is a full circle moment.
Isn't it though? Isn't it though? Yeah, you and I have been friends for a very long time. So I appreciate you coming on the air as a candidate. You're running for this really important seat. First of all, where is Congressional District 35?
It is a big portion of Bexar County. And essentially, I tell people, if you're looking at a clock and you put that over Bexar County, we start at 12, right around the airport area. Nacogdoches and 410, and it wraps all the way around to 7 on the map, which finishes around Southwest ISD, McDonald-Lacoste area, and it covers a large portion of north, northeast, east, southeast, and southwest Bexar County. A big chunk of Bexar County here in
That's a great way to explain it. I know that whenever people talk about their district, they start talking about streets and locations, and I'm like, that makes no sense. So
I had to figure out an easy way to explain it to people, and I said, look, it's a clock. Let's start at 12 and let's go all the way to 7. And if you're from San Antonio, you know pretty much what that encompasses.
I can see it. It's an easy visual. What other counties do you have other than Bexar County?
Yeah, so when they redrew this district, it was once held by Congressman Greg Casar. It stretched from Live Oak, and it literally ran along 35 to Austin. When they redrew the maps, they cut it out essentially to overlap District 118 on the House, and they added Guadalupe, Wilson, and Karnes counties, rural counties, but areas that we're seeing a lot of people that are willing to get activated, people that are frustrated, people that are ready to show their voice at the polls. And we feel confident in this midterm election cycle, Democrats are going to get the job done.
Absolutely. I think Democrats are overperforming all across the country. The seats, city councils, mayoral, state house districts all across the country are flipping because people are fed up. So when you talk to folks out on the ground, I know you've been out walking in parades and was it shaking babies and kissing dogs or something like that? What are you hearing?
Babies and kiss.
You do not shake the babies? Okay. What are you hearing from folks?
You know, look, people are just economically frustrated with what's going on in the economy. We saw last year in the economy, prices skyrocket astronomically with the tariffs that were in place. You know, just over a year ago, Americans were feeling the effects of tariffs with nearly 2.4%. Fast forward into 2025, into this year, Americans are now paying 17% as a result of tariffs. That is a huge difference. When we're talking about the increase in beef and vegetables and what you and I both know and enjoy, coffee, we are seeing a 19% increase in coffee prices as a result of tariffs. Beef has risen up over 16%, and vegetables, fruits and vegetables have risen over 7%. These numbers may not mean much to you, but we start to feel it by our everyday use of these goods. Well, these are the things that people are frustrated about: the economy, tariffs, the affordability on healthcare, and obviously this new emerging threat with ICE as well.
I will tell you, Donald Trump said that on day one, he was going to lower the price of milk and lower the price of eggs. And I don't feel like that's happened. And I think it's very, very clear when you go to the grocery store. As a single guy, I could walk into H-E-B, spend $100 and be good for the week. And now that's not even a reality for myself. And I like to eat, and I eat at home, and I like to cook. And that's just getting out of hand. Don't make a comment because I see your face. I see that you're trying to make a face. But yes, I like to eat. I do. It's getting more and more expensive to do that, and we're feeling it. Do you think that this is something that we can rectify, that we can fix? Absolutely.
And it starts by electing the right candidate in the right district to ultimately head into November and win a district that was redrawn by Republicans for Republicans. But I tell people this, they weren't anticipating when Republicans redrew this map that a pissed off Democrat deputy sheriff was going to step into this race and say, I'm not going to let this happen on my watch. With the maps that were redrawn, we saw that there was black and white evidence that they were redrawn to silence minority voters. That decision carried its weight up to the El Paso courts, and they agreed with that as well. And ultimately, it got ruled in favor of the maps by the Supreme Court. And once again, I know for the most part, Democrats, we've always had to fight against opposition. And this
Yep.
is no different. We accept it, we run with it, and we win in tough races. And this one's no different. We anticipate that, yes, we're going to face opposition, but we know that this is a district that we can win. It's a very common sense, rural, law and order district. And I'm hopeful and thankful to be running in this race.
So you are a deputy sheriff. You are Sheriff Salazar's public information officer. So you've been side by side with Sheriff Salazar this entire time. You've watched the way this works. What is it that sets you apart? Why does your experience matter? You're in a Democratic primary. You're going up against several other Democrats. Why do you want people to select Johnny Garcia?
I mean, you know, it's a line that I used, or a phrase that I told the Express News that ultimately gave me their endorsement. And I'm thankful. That is a huge endorsement to have by the San Antonio Express News. Mm-hmm. And I told them flat out, I said, look, yes, there are others in this race, those that have a history of losing to Republicans. But in my profession in law enforcement, we don't have the ability to lose. When we lose in law enforcement, people die. And we know that there are so many people that are counting on a Democrat to win this race, to bring back affordable health care, to tear down these terrorists that are hurting working class families. And we absolutely need to put the best candidate forward to get the job done. I tell people this, you know, here in South Central Texas, so many families are hurting as a result of terrorists that are in place. And I tell them this, look, you know, families here, they just want to be able to put gas in their vehicles to go to and from work. They want to be able to pay their CPS and SALS bills. They want to go to HEB, as you mentioned, and be able to buy groceries with the same $100 that they used to be able to just over a year ago. And they're not able to. But more so than anything, families here in South Central Texas, they just want to be able to make it to Sunday to buy barbacoa and Big Red for their families. But families aren't. Families are being strung out. People are paying more than what they're used to with the same wages that they're making, and they're not able to make it to Sunday to buy their barbacoa and Big Red for their families. And these are the values that we're taking with us. These are the stories that we're hearing across the district, and it's positioning us to make sure that we're fighting for working class values every single day as we run for Congress in this district.
We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back with Johnny Garcia running for Congress in United States Congressional District 35.
People, it is time.
Please go vote.
It's time to go vote.
Everybody has to get out to vote.
So make sure you get out and vote.
So get out and vote.
It is so pivotal that you get out to vote right now.
Make sure that you tell your friends, your family,
Your neighbors, your coworkers.
Bring your sisters, bring everybody and go out and vote today.
This is our business. We take our community back, one vote at a time, one election at a time. It's up to us in Bexar County. Let's do this.
And we're back right here on Radio Jalapeno 99.9 FM, 1540 AM with Johnny Garcia running for United States Congress in District 35. Johnny, tell me about your experience. You've worked with Sheriff Salazar. You've been his public information officer. You've been side by side with him for the last several years. How many years have you worked with the guy?
8 years. And I tell people all the gray hair you see is mostly from the sheriff. But, you know, I say it from the bottom of my heart, and maybe it comes off a little bit too biased, but I have had the pleasure of working with, in my opinion, one of the best leaders that we have in law enforcement, one of the best leaders in politics in Texas. And that's in large part because of the accountability and transparency he holds himself to and governs with that same sense of being accountable and transparent to the community. And it has rooted my service to what I plan to bring to this district: transparency and accountability.
No, that's awesome. What kind of experience? You talk about your experience and you talk about that. What kind of things have you done with him that you feel have prepared you for this moment? Yeah,
you know, oftentimes it's been, you know, listening to the needs of our community and then proactively taking measures to ensure that we're bringing them safety, that we're addressing their needs. If we see loopholes in laws that need to be addressed, we go out and absolutely tackle those issues. For instance, the sheriff and myself, we wrote the legal permanent resident bill that ultimately got signed into law with the help of Representative Philip Cortez, who's an absolute great partner in the House, and also through Senator Carol Alvarado out of Houston. we saw this loophole that you could serve your country honorably, but if you weren't born on U.S. soil, you could not come back and serve law enforcement. And we just saw that to be crazy. Essentially, we saw this loophole. We wrote the bill to change state law. If you have served our country and armed forces, you absolutely should be able to serve law enforcement. And that was one of the measures that we took. Nice. Thankfully, it got passed. And ultimately, we've been able to use that experience to help us get more funding. Just recently, we worked with Congress to get $2.1 million to build up a jail intelligence unit. We know that we sit on a gold mine of information at the jail. And if we don't have the resources and capabilities to use that information to keep our community safe, we're not doing anybody any good. And thankfully, I've had my hands dealing with what needs to be done in order to bring back the funds, in order to get these bills signed into law. And it's just another thing that I add to this resume that I bring, more so than anything. I'm a working class candidate. Just a couple of months ago, I was working full time as a sheriff's deputy, serving as spokesperson for the sheriff's office. And I wouldn't have ever thought I'd be running for office this soon. But I don't think anybody anticipated for our economy and our democracy to be in such distress and peril. And thankfully, my humble beginnings working construction and plumbing while going through college, then joining the sheriff's office, working in the jail, serving on the SWAT team as a hostage negotiator in the last 8 years, serving as Sheriff Salazar's spokesperson. I'm bringing this skill set with me of being able to manage crisis in a time where our country needs peaceful resolution. And thankfully, I have the experience to get that job done.
Some might say we need a hostage negotiator in Congress. It feels like our country's being held hostage right now.
When I'm speaking to people in Guadalupe County and they hear me say hostage negotiator, they say, why didn't you start off with that? Because I have so much more to talk about. But people obviously feel that, with this reckless administration, we're going to need somebody to cut through the noise so we can work to restore order and deliver real results for working families. And I use that and I say that, I'm an old school Democrat running to restore old school democratic principles, fighting for the working class, fighting for education equality, for strong public safety and economy that actually serves the people.
No, that's amazing. Thank you so much for stepping up to the plate and running. We need Democrats to win, and we need the right Democrats to win. Right now, what's happening, y'all, is that there is an election going on. That means that if you are a registered voter, you can go to any voting center in Bexar County today. This Saturday, polls are open from 7 a.m. until 7 p.m. And then on Sunday, the polls are open 12 to 6. And then throughout next week is also early voting. The Democrats are going to the polls and asking for the Democrat ballot. Republicans are asking for the Republican ballot. And each party's choosing who's going to represent them in November. So right now we're voting as Democrats to see who's going to be the best Democrat to represent us and fight against Republicans in November. And so, Johnny, we appreciate you stepping up to the plate. Thank you for joining us right here on Plática Politica. Johnny, where can people find more about you, learn more about you?
Yeah, info, votejohnnygarcia.com. You can also email me at info@votejohnnygarcia, but website is votejohnnygarcia.com.
All right. Thank you so much, Johnny. We appreciate you stepping up to the plate. Good luck in this election and in your future endeavors, my friend. You're listening to Plática Politica. We'll be right back.
I'm voting for more than just a person.
I'm voting for affordable housing.
I'm voting for my education. I'm voting for women's rights.
I'm voting for a fair living wage.
I'm voting.
I'm voting
for our future.
For my family.
I'm voting because my life depends on it. Listen, it's time to reclaim your vote. Whatever your reason, whatever your issue, just vote.
I'm voting. Are you?
Go to reclaimyourvote.org for more.
This message is paid for by the National Urban League.
Soy Mari Sánchez Belú y les pido su voto para ser su próxima secretaria del Condado de Béjar. En este preciso momento, Los depredadores del Internet están trabajando para obtener acceso a su información personal, como seguro social y fechas de nacimiento. Como veterana, he dedicado los últimos 20 años a proteger a las personas y su información. Y como su próxima secretaria del condado, mi primer prioridad será garantizar su seguridad. Soy Mari Sánchez Belú y respetuosamente les pido su voto.
Anuncio político pagado por Mari Sánchez Belú, candidata para secretaria del condado de Bejar. And we're back on KEDA Radio Jalapeño. You're listening to Plática Politica. As you all know, election season is going on right now, but we're going to take a quick pause and talk about an important organization that is right here in San Antonio that takes care of our organization, our youth, specifically our LGBTQ plus youth. Joining us is Christopher Stone and Gideon Del Rio. How are you all doing today?
Good morning. Doing good.
Yeah. So Gideon, tell me a little bit about Fiesta Youth.
Absolutely. So we're a support group for LGBTQ2 plus youths between the ages of elementary school, 12 to 18, and 18 to 24. We just give them a space to come be themselves, meet people who are like them, and then bring in adults from the LGBT community to help give guidance on queer issues.
Now, what kind of programming do you all offer?
Thank you for asking. We like to do a variety of topics. So that includes queer history, arts and crafts, discussion of queer identities. We bring in speakers who have a remarkable impact on the community. We talk about internet safety and life skills.
That's amazing. And Christopher, tell me, why was this an important organization for you to be a part of and for you all to have here in San Antonio?
Well, first, it's a great organization that was created by a mom who was trying to find a place to get support for their child who came out of the closet. And so she decided to get with local leaders in San Antonio who got together and they came up with Fiesta Youth. Now, the reason why it's important to me is because it's something I wish I had when I was a kid.
Absolutely.
You know, I'm a transgender man. I didn't come out as transgender until my 40s. But I always knew that there was something different. I had no language for it. There was never any organizations like this when I was growing up as a kid. So I'm just glad to be a part of something that not only is helping kids, but it's also helping their families. Part of the programming is the parent support program as well. You know, to see how these kids grow and the families grow is just very, very exciting for me.
I always tell folks that when you come out, whether we like it or not, your family comes out as well.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Because as a parent, you have an idea of what your child is going to look like, do, be, who they're going to marry, what the wedding is going to look like, what the grandbabies are going to look like, if any, right? And so when you come out, one of the things that your family has to do is retrain themselves and I don't want to say reprogram, but just kind of reimagine what the future looks like. I know that one of the first questions I got when I came out of the closet was, but are you going to have grandkids? You know, I'm the last male Vargas of my lineage. My grandmother made it very clear, me vas a dar nietos, you're going to get potential and keep your family name going. So I totally understand. I think that work that you all are doing is extremely important. How can people get a hold of you all?
Well, they can reach us through our website at fiesta-youth.org. And there you can find everything you need to know about Fiesta Youth as far as our mission is concerned, our history. You can find out the different events that we have going on when our youth get together each week and meet at our meeting place, and the different events that we have coming up as well.
Speaking of events, you all have an event coming up.
Yes, we do. It's the 12th annual Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil. Ooh. It is an official Fiesta event, by the way.
Okay.
And we are also, we make it our big masquerade extravaganza.
That's amazing. Where is that going to be at?
It's going to be held at the Museum on April the 18th from 7 to 11 p.m. If you get yourself a VIP ticket, then you get to get in an hour earlier at 6 p.m.
All right.
And enjoy some past cocktails and past hors d'oeuvres and things like that. So
Sounds
getting a little
fancy.
earlier. Mm-hmm.
That's
It's
awesome.
fun.
I've actually had the opportunity to go for the last couple of years. And so it's an event that I really, really enjoy. I'm a bit of a Fiesta snob. And so I love this event because you go, it's open bar. If you participate, there's food and all sorts of stuff, and even a drag show, right?
Yeah, we actually we're expanding our drag show this year a little bit. So yes, we are. We have Lindsay Andrews, who will soon in March is going to be crowned as our very first royalty. So she will be the Empress of Fiesta Youth.
Love that.
And so we're going to have our own royalty. And then we also have a drag king performing this year for the first time, Campbell Reed Andrews, who is amazing. And also the talents of Tara Bentley Leach will be performing as well.
That's exciting. I'm excited. I can't wait. Fiesta is right around the corner. Look, I know we're in the middle of rodeo season. We just got through them. I always say this is the high party days of San Antonio. You get MLK, then you got rodeo, Poteet Strawberry Festival, then Fiesta. And so I love that you all are hosting this event. That's amazing. It's always a great event at the Doozium. What day is that?
It's on April the 18th. It's a Saturday. Tickets are available now. You can get your tickets through ticketstripe.com/midnight 2026. And the tickets are all inclusive. So your ticket price includes the entry into the event, all of the entertainment. We have an amazing silent auction. Right now we're at over 60 items. Our goal is to hit 100 items for a silent auction like we did last year.
Nice.
And we include your entertainment. We have a live music from the E7 band this year.
Okay.
And also local artist Laura Marie, plus our drag performers that we have. DJ Rook will be in the house. So all of that is included in your ticket price. And the only thing extra you got to pay is if you want to tip the drag queen, who will be donating their tips back to Fiesta Youth.
Nice.
And also the silent auction, whatever you win in a silent auction.
That's awesome. Gideon, I want to circle back to you. Tell me a little bit more about some of the programming that you do. And, I know that you all are geared towards youth, right? Not young adults, but youth, right? And so if a parent is thinking, I don't know what to do, or I don't know how to handle or how to approach this, what type of programming do you all have as an organization?
Absolutely. So we have our parent meetings that meet on the 2nd and 4th Tuesdays of the month.
Okay.
Those are open to parents, caregivers, anyone who wants to be an adult who is supporting a youth through their journey, right? Yeah. And we like to bring in educational material for the adults and caregivers, including internet safety. How do you refer to someone who might use neo pronouns, for example? We also have an LGBT sensitivity training that we deliver for free to schools and businesses. And that's one of the parents' favorites. We like to, have a dialogue about what it
I
means
can't tell you how many times in the work that I do, people are like, what is the word? Or I don't know, what's offensive, what's not offensive.
Right. And it's okay not to know.
Yeah,
right? It's okay not to know. It's okay to ask questions. Absolutely. And we just want to be a guiding, voice so that, you have the dialogue, right? That you have the social script, you have the vocabulary, the social vocabulary that we may not have had built up for us when we were younger.
No, absolutely. Christopher, tell us one more time about the event, the date, location, and how to get tickets.
It is the 12th annual Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil, an official Fiesta Masquerade extravaganza happening at the Doozium on Saturday, April the 18th from 7 to 11. Unless you're VIP, you get in at 6. And it's we basically are going to turn the place into an adult playground inside and out.
Love that. I am not someone that has children. And so I don't always enjoy going to museums when all the kids' school buses are there. So this is kind of cool because you get to go and play in the Doozium as an adult, kind of like an adult.
And they let you.
I know.
And they let you.
With little kids fighting me for the bubbles, right? So that's awesome. Looking forward to that. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us. You're listening to Plática Politica. Learn more about Fiesta Youth at fiesta-youth.com. Did I say that right?
.org.
fiesta-youth.org, fiesta-youth.org. Learn more about this amazing organization, the programming they provide, and hey, buy a Fiesta medal while you're there and get a ticket to their event. We'll be right back on Plática Política.
Es la temporada de elecciones, así que para descansar de las redes sociales, revisé vote411.org para conocer a mis candidatos locales. Puse mi dirección en la página y apareció mi boleta electoral junto con las posiciones de los candidatos sobre temas como la economía y la salud reproductiva. Vote411 incluso me envió una guía del votante personalizada para consultar cuando vaya a votar. Ahora que tengo mi plan de votación, puedo regresar a navegar mis redes sociales.
And we're back on Plática Política, whether you're in Gonzales, Uvalde, Travis County, or Atascosa. We are so glad that you're joining us this beautiful Saturday morning. Early voting is going on right now. So if you haven't done so, go out and vote. Vayan a votar. Joining us right now is the fabulous Gina Hinojosa. She's running and wants to be your next governor, and she's here to tell us why you should vote for her. How are you doing, Gina? ¿Cómo estás?
I'm good. I'm a little under the weather, so my voice sounds more funny than usual.
It's Texas. The weather, the allergies, everything else. And I can imagine you're out on the road shaking lots of hands.
Yes. In fact, I think this is the fourth time that I've been sick since we launched in October. I need a, if anybody knows a good regimen for keeping your immune system up, send it my way, please.
I got a tia that I can send your way that can give you a good limpia, I'm sure.
Yes, right.
Gina, how has the campaign trail been for you?
It's been great. There's so much energy, so much excitement. Part of why I'm sick, because the crowds are showing up already this year for this midterm election. And it's just been great energy. People are ready for change. People are ready to work for change. And I just couldn't be more pleased with the reception we're getting all over the state.
Let me ask you, what is it going to cost? What is it going to take to win in Texas?
It's going to take all of us being all in. This election, midterm election, may be our best last chance to make real gains for our communities and for our families and for ourselves. We are seeing all over this country and all over this state that the people are winning elections where we haven't won elections in a long, long time. And so the challenge we have, though, is that we're up against some big moneyed forces. The governor has a giant campaign war chest, lots of money in that campaign war chest. And so we're up against that. Big money, those big money interests that have been used to controlling politics as usual in this state. But the people are seeing through it, and the people are overcoming that financial burden and overcoming those powerful forces to win.
Why are you the person to go up against Governor Abbott?
Well, I've been in the trenches for the last almost 10 years fighting on the issues that matter to our families, really leading on every major fight in this statewide fight. And we have won where our numbers would say we probably should not have won, but it's because of a determination to show up to fight to win. And for instance, in 2023, I was the co-lead with James Tellerico for the effort to stop the voucher scam. And we won. We beat the governor and the big moneyed interests several times, the regular special session and the 4 special sessions after that. I led the quorum break in 2021 to defend our voting rights, to preserve Sunday morning voting, which is part of a long-standing tradition in African-American churches to do souls to the polls and vote as a faith community. That was under attack. We also preserved and won the ability of the people to have free and fair elections, because the bill that was about to pass would have given elected judges the ability to overturn the will of the voters. Goodness. So, right. So, those are big fights that we have won. Those are just a few examples, but I'm in it to win it. I've proven that I can bring what's necessary to win these big fights. This is not easy. This is a heavy lift, but I know together we can do this. Every major success that I've been a part of in this state on policy issues has been working with the people of Texas to make it happen. This is no different.
You're running in a statewide campaign, obviously running for governor. There's 254 counties, everything from the Panhandle to Dallas to San Antonio to El Paso to Eagle Pass. We've got all these different counties. Is there a common theme that you're hearing when you're out of the field? Do people in Dallas want something different than what's in El Paso?
There are some unique issues to regions, no doubt. But sure. The overarching sentiment, the overarching concern that I hear is that after 12 years of Greg Abbott, people are struggling more, not less. Life is harder after 12 years of Governor Abbott in the governor's mansion. And so people work hard, right? They're not asking for anything free, but what they're asking is that things should not be so hard. We know that the price of everything has risen significantly. That people want lower costs. People want schools that are responsive to the needs of their kids. I mean, those are universals that cut through regional differences.
Republicans have made a lot of promises and have failed Texas all across the board. I mean, Donald Trump said that on day one, he was going to make sure that the price of milk and eggs and the price of gas was all going to go down, and they've completely failed. How can Democrats convince voters that we're going to be the change that they need in order to have a successful future?
Well, look at our record. Look at my record, right? Look, and here's what I would ask. Evaluate me on my record. There are different kinds of Democrats. There are different kinds of Republicans. I have always worked on issues that benefit working families. I have always focused on the kitchen table issues. Look at the legislation I have filed and the legislation that I have led on. And so that's what I would ask. And I would say that Greg Abbott's not going to do it for us. Greg Abbott has had 12 years to bring down property taxes, to bring down costs, to improve our schools, all of these things that are concerns for our families. Greg Abbott has had his chance, and I am humbly asking to give me a chance to prove that we can do this together.
All right, we're going to take a quick break. You're listening to Plática Política. We're going to hear more from Gina Hinojosa, who's asking you to vote for her and be our next governor. We'll be right back.
Estás escuchando Plática Política. Quédate con nosotros para enterarte de las últimas noticias, análisis políticos y un poco de chisme. Aquí en Queda Radio Jalapeño.
Así es. Escúchanos en directo, síguenos en las redes sociales o sintoniza donde quiera que escuches tus podcasts favoritos.
And we're back with Gina Hinojosa, who's asking to be your next governor. Gina, you grew up in South Texas. Tell us about your roots. Tell us about where you come from. Where is your family from?
That's right. I was born and raised in the Valley. I was born in McAllen and then grew up in Brownsville, attended public school there. And that's where we launched this campaign. And we have been back about 7-8 times since we launched, because we have to take the Valley off the table. Our South Texas communities, our border communities, they are more aligned with my agenda for the future than Greg Abbott. Greg Abbott does not respect our communities. He uses our communities during election time and then turns back on really the entirety of the Latino community, the entirety of the Hispanic community. Right now, what we have in this state and in this country is that Hispanic Texans are being questioned as not American enough, right? Not Texan enough. When we are, as American, we are a proud, patriotic people. And so we need a governor who stands up for all the people of Texas, and including our Hispanic community, who are a proud and patriotic people and who have every right to have our rights respected and our dreams heard.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. Our community is paramount to the success of the state, whether it's, the folks that are out working and building houses, serving tacos, but also our lawyers. We have some amazing lawyers and people in the legislature that are Latinos that are representing our community. And so we appreciate you stepping up. All right, we're going to ask you about a minute's worth of questions. They're rapid fire questions. It's what people really want to know. This is what the people of Texas, of San Antonio, want to know about our next governor. Are you ready?
I'm ready. Let's go.
All right, let's do this. All right, Gina, what is your favorite taco?
My favorite breakfast taco is either papas con huevo or nopal con huevo.
All right, what book are you reading right now?
Right now, I'm reading the Oppo research on Greg Abbott. It's a book.
Of course you are. Of course. What else would you have time for? All right, Gina, are you a basketball player, or football?
Oh, I'm soccer. Sorry.
Soccer. What team?
Yeah. Well, here we have the Venomous, right? We have Austin FC, so that's my team right now.
That's hilarious. Where are we going to find you and your husband?
And always, go ahead.
No, what were you going to say? Always what?
And always my son's Pony League baseball team.
Oh, that's sweet. Where are we going to find you and your husband on a Friday night?
Well, these days you find me anywhere, all over the state on a Friday night. There's no telling these days. And my husband has been wonderful about being understanding of all my travel.
All right, one last question. The song plays, you're going to dance. Is it a country song or a Tejano song?
Tejano.
Tejano. Puro Tejano. It's got to be Tejano.
Yes,
All right. All right, joining us is Gina Hinojosa, running for governor. Gina, what do you want folks to know before you head out?
Well, early voting is now. I humbly ask for your support in this race. This is a hard election. This is a hard campaign and race, but we can do this. What we're seeing is that Democrats are overperforming like 30 points in districts across the state. And it's because people want change. We have the power to make that change happen. The timing is right in this election cycle, and we can be the difference. And so I'm humbly asking you to support me in this race. And I promise to work as hard for you as you work for your communities, your family, and just as hard as the people of Texas work.
All right, that's Gina Hinojosa. You're listening to Plática Politica right here on KEDA Radio Jalapeño. We'll be right back.
You have rights, no matter your immigration status. If law enforcement, or ICE, comes to your door, ask for identification. Do not open the door unless they have a warrant signed by a judge. Ask them to show it through the window or slide it under the door. You have the right to remain silent. You don't have to answer questions about your immigration status, how you enter the U.S., or where you're from. If you are arrested, stay calm and do not resist. Tell the officer, I am exercising my right to remain silent. Do not sign anything you don't understand without talking to a lawyer. On buses, trains, or airplanes, you still have rights. If stopped, you can say, I am exercising my right to remain silent. You don't have to consent to a search of your belongings. Keep a family preparedness plan. Designate someone you trust to care for your children if you are detained. Keep important documents like passports and legal papers in a safe place. If you don't speak English, ask for an interpreter. Protect yourself and your family by staying informed and prepared.
All right, thank you for joining us for another episode of Plática Politica. It's been a great morning, and I appreciate you sticking with us all throughout this last hour. Listen, the Democratic primary is going on now. You can go vote at any voting site in Bexar County, whether you want to vote in the Democratic primary or the Republican primary. You can cast your ballot anywhere in Bexar County, as long as you've got your state-issued identification or military ID and you're already registered to vote. This is a really exciting primary season. What most people don't realize is that less than 14% of registered voters in Bexar County actually participate in the primary election. That means that a very small group of people are deciding who you get to choose from in November. So go make your voice heard and cast your ballot. You can learn all about the candidates at election, or who's on the ballot, on elections.bear.org. You can also visit the various candidates' Facebook pages, website, do your research, do your homework. Go back and listen to some of the previous episodes of Plática Politica on Facebook, Instagram, or TikTok. But listen, whatever you do, go out and vote. We want to give a special thanks to our guest this morning. We had with us Johnny Garcia, who's running for the newly drawn Congressional District 35. Republicans believe that's a safe seat, but Johnny is saying that he's the right guy to face off and take that seat and be able to defend our community. So let's see what happens there. Also with us was Judge Carlo Rodriguez Key, who's defending his seat in the Democratic primary. And of course, we had just with us Gina Hinojosa, who's running for governor. She wants to take on Greg Abbott in November, but in order to do so, she needs voters to select her in the Democratic primary. So look, vayan a votar. Go cast your ballot in the Democratic primary. You can vote at any voting center in Bexar County. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to Plática Politica on Facebook or over the phone at 210-790-7979. Love to hear from you all. I'm Robert Vargas III, your host right here on Plática Politica, 99.9 FM, 1540 AM, KEDA Radio Jalapeno. Y'all have a great day and go vote.